Hi, this is Venkatesh. I'm an assistant professor from the School of Animation and Media Studies, Sublesham Leshamati College of Science, Madurai. In this video lesson, I'm going to show you how we can create a walk cycle animation using Adobe Animate. I'm going to show you in two ways. First, I'm going to show you how we can create in a proper traditional frame-by-frame animation. And second, I'm going to show you how we can do the same thing using parenting view and 3D animation with Adobe Animate. Throughout this, I'm going to explain how to use the software, how we are going to handle the stage, timeline, how we are going to manage the library, and how overall we are going to use this Adobe Animate software to create walk cycle animation. In this lesson, I'm going to show you how we can use the user interface of Adobe Animate. Let me start with the menu bar. At the top, you can see we have the menu bar. It have file, edit, and view menus. So all those menus are help us to build a 2D animation using Adobe Animate. And here at the end, we have window menu. In window menu, we have a lot of panels. So if you want to access those panels, you can use after creating a new document. After this menu bar, I come to this work area. In work area, we have a new document creation templates. So if you want to create a new document with full HD, you can choose full HD. Or if you want to create some Android applications using Adobe Animate, you can go for this. So it shows you all possible creation templates with Adobe Animate. I choose more preset. So when I choose more preset, it loads the window and it too shows you what are all the other works we can do with Adobe Animate. So here it shows the different resolutions of Adobe Animate source file. It starts with HD, Full HD, 4K, and the standard, which is the begin one we used at the beginning stage. So here I have the social media category. So if you want to create some animations for social media banner work or small animations, you have all those preset dimensions here. And if I want to build a game using Adobe Animate, I can do that. I can do both Android, iPhone, and desktop or Mac PC games. So to do all those games, you have different resolutions here. As I said, if you want, yeah, you can go for that also. We do have different educational content creation templates, social media advertisements, and if you want to build a complete website using Adobe Animate, that too you can do. So for that, you can use web. And you do have few more advanced works with Adobe Animate. I choose advanced. So it shows you what else you can do with Adobe Animate. Like you can create HTML5 canvas work, and you can build the applications for desktop, iOS. You can create 360 work using this Adobe Animate and panorama works. So all those works you can do with Adobe Animate. But right now I'm going to show you how you can create a walk cycle animation. So for that, I choose this character animation. So in character animation, I'm going to choose the basic HD. Remember that this Adobe Animate was the vector based software. So if I want to increase the dimension of that video footage, I can increase because it was completely vector. So at the beginning I can start with HD, and later I can export that same work with full HD or 4K also. So right now I choose HD, and when I choose HD, on this right hand side it shows you the width and height in pixels. You can see that the units in the form of pixels. So the default value of HD is 1280 and 720 pixels, and here it shows you the frame rate. The default frame rate is 30. And this is the action script coding part. If you are using this Adobe Animate for game development or website creation work, that time you can use this platform type. But if you are going to create only 2D animations for video or film purpose, you don't need to choose this. It can be like anything at the default stage. So after choosing and ensuring the dimensions, I choose create. When I choose create, it shows you the new document. So after getting the new document only, all those tools and other options are functioning. So this is how you create a new document with Adobe Animate. In the next lesson, I will show you how you can manage all those things. After creating new document, I see the user interface. Right now it shows you that present zoom level of the stage is 100%. So I can change that into the fit in window. can see that I can see the entire area. So this is the work area of Adobe Animate. In Adobe Animate we have the separate name for this work area, which is stage. So as we have stage in theaters, we can see only the elements which is present inside the stage. If the elements are outside the stage, you cannot export that as a video, which is the problem as we have the physical stage. So whatever you want to show with the animation in the video, you have to place that movement or the still image inside the stage only. Now I have the 78% of zoom level, which is fitting with this present monitor resolution. If I choose 25%, it too shows you the 25% of the stage. So you can navigate the zoom level using this option. And you can also use the shortcut key. The shortcut key is Ctrl 2. So when I press Ctrl 2, I can fit the window within that work area, whatever it is. And I use Ctrl minus, so I can zoom out the stage level, and I can use Ctrl plus to zoom in the stage level. So this is how we use. You can see when I press Ctrl plus, here it changed the value up to 2000%, and when I press Ctrl minus, it too shows you it changed the value. And if I want to get the default fit in window mode, I can choose Ctrl 2. So that's how we manage the stage. And apart from the stage area, on left hand side you can see we have toolbox. So I just adjust the toolbox column into 2. So right now it was 1 column. I can come to the edge of this toolbox and I just move the mouse. You can see the double arrow appearance. I just click and drag so that I can make that the particular toolbox into 2 column. And in toolbox you can see we have a lot of tools. At the bottom you can see that we have fill color for the shape and outline color, and here I have 3 dots which helps us to edit the toolbar. So I choose this edit toolbar, and the pencil tool is not available here. Here it is. If I want to access the tool, I just click and drag and drop where I need. So it was added here, you can see. So in this way you can customize your toolbar as you require. Now I just close this. I don't need that toolbar, I just need only pencil if it requires. So after that I come to the left hand side. So here we have a lot of panels. Each panel helps us to complete the design animation work using Adobe Animate. So this properties panel having a lot of properties of the stage, which is the present element, and if I create something like rectangle shape and I select that shape, it shows you the properties of all those objects. And I add text tool, I click here and I type some text information that to have the text properties. So whatever the element you have selected on stage, it will show all the properties on this properties bar. The same way you have colors to change the color of the selected object, alignment, library. So all those panels will help us to create the perfect animation using Adobe Animate. We do have many more panels which is present in window menu. You can see that if you want, you can show and you can utilize all those things. And after this panels on left hand side, at the bottom you can see that we have the area called timeline. So this timeline helps us to create the animation by doing movement or showing transparency with the objects. We'll set at this point of time I need the object here, and this point of time I need an object here. So in that way you can create the animation based on the timing using this option, which is timeline. We are going to use this effectively throughout the lesson. So this is how we have the user interface of this Adobe Animate. After creating a new document only, you can access all those things. If I just close this new document, and I'm not going to save this document right now, so I choose close, no. So you can see we cannot see any windows here. So create a new document and you can access all those facilities available with the user interface of Adobe Animate. In this lesson, I'm going to show you how you can create a character appearance using Adobe Animate. We are going to create the basic character setup, and we are going to create with only shapes. So let me show you how we can create that. First, I choose this oval tool. So you can use this oval tool or rectangle tool to create any shape using Adobe Animate. I'm going to use this oval tool now. I choose oval tool, and I don't need the outline color. I just need a fill color. So I come to the stroke color here, I click here and make sure I don't need a stroke color, and I come to the fill color. Now I just click fill color, and here I'm going to choose the black. So when I create the shape here, you can see it was black right now. When I press hold the shift key, you can see I have the circle, but if I release the shift key, I just release, you can convert that as a shape like ellipse or oval. So if you want circle or square, you can use the shift key, or if you don't need, you can draw with freehand movement for the creating these kind of ellipse. So I just create a perfect circle. I just press hold the shift key, and I want to make this as a symbol. So the symbols are reusable elements. If I create a shape as a symbol, it will be stored in a place called library. So at any time I can reload it and I can utilize it. Even if it was deleted from the stage, I can access from the library and I can utilize that. That's why symbols are are reusable elements, and symbols are the containers that carries that details of shapes, and you can help symbols to animate the objects also. So that is a concept called nested symbols. We'll use that to create this walk cycle animation using parenting. But right now I was created only one shape. You can see that there is dotted lines like appearance. So those dots mentioning that this is a shape. I come to the properties bar, it shows you that it was shape. Now I want to convert this as a symbol, because I can use this symbol to create the animations. So to convert any shape as a symbol, I just press F8 after selecting that particular shape. So when I press F8, it shows you I'm going to convert that as a symbol, and I'm going to mention the name of the particular object. So I'm going to mention the name of the object, which is head, because for the character I'm going to use this shape as a head. So I was given the head, and as I told you previously, it shows you the symbol type. I click here, it shows you three options: movie clip, button and graphic. So for creating 2D animation for video or movie purpose, we use only graphics, because graphics only will show the nested symbol animation outside, which will be reflected on the video output. The movie clip symbol will create the animation, but we use this movie clip concept to control the animation using programming. Like if I was creating a game using Adobe Animate, I need to control the backgrounds, the villains and the powers, vehicles. So if I want to control the animations of those villains and other all things, I need to use the animation method, which is movie clip symbol. So when I use movie clip symbol and I create the animation, I can control that using programming. So right now we are creating 2D animation for video. We don't need to use that. And the buttons also, we know that we have the OK button and cancel. The same way we can create the buttons using Adobe Animate, the customized button, and for that we are going to use the button. So right now that was also not our need, so I choose graphic and I choose OK. So when I choose OK, you can see that the dotted dots are vanished. It was showing that blue colored outline. And when I come to the library here, the shortcut key is Ctrl L. It shows you we have only one symbol inside, which is head, and this icon represents that's a graphic symbol. Now I just move that head here, and I'm going to create the body. So to create the body, I'm going to use the shape oval, and I just create the shape like this. So right now the character was facing right hand side, and if I move this body into this side, you can see that the character was facing left hand side. So this positioning of that particular body decides where that character was facing. So right now the character may face the front or facing the back view. So this is how we place the shapes, and the basic shape itself decides where the character was facing. And I just place here, and I want to convert that. I press F8, and here I'm going to mention that is body, and I choose OK. So now we have two symbols on my library, and after this I want to create the legs, pair of legs and pair of hands. So to do that, I want to create a shape here, again an oval shape. So this is for right leg. So I choose the shape and I press F8, and here I want to mention that the leg will have three segments, the upper segment and the middle segment and the feet, which is the lower segment. So here I'm going to mention that this is the right leg, so I'm going to mention R, and leg, so I mention L, and I mention 1. So right leg, then I can give a segment 1, so RLS 1, that was the name I'm going to give. Or you can mention like this, right underscore leg underscore 1 or segment underscore 1, and I copy this information and I choose OK. So it was stored there. Now I'm going to create another shape, and this will be the lower segment, and I'm going to convert that as a symbol, and here I'm going to mention that is a segment 2, and I need the feet, so I just create the shape like this, and I place here, and I convert that as a symbol. I just use the same name with the segment 3, and in future I'm going to make that chain like appearance, so this will help me to create that appearance. So we have perfect right leg for this character. I just place here. Now I need the same size leg for left also. So what we can do, let me show you. I'm going to duplicate this. To do that, I can press Ctrl D. So when you press Ctrl D, you will have the new pair of same elements. Or I have another way. I select all the elements which I need to duplicate. I just hold the Alt key and click and drag. Now after releasing the mouse button, I can just release the Alt from the keyboard. So in this way also I can duplicate the objects. You can use which one is right and easy for you. Now I break all the symbols into shapes because we converted as a symbol. Now I want to break it. So I choose this element. I choose Ctrl B. So Ctrl B for break that symbol, and here also I break, and here also I can break. You can also select all three and you can break it. Now all three elements are just shapes. So here what I do, I select the object. I may select all three because those are not connected, and here I want to change the color because I want to show you the difference between that the front leg, which is right leg, and left leg. So during the animation creation process, it is easy to understand where we have the leg. For the beginner it will be highly helpful. So since it's a right leg, we have used this name, which is right leg segment 1, and here I'm going to mention that I just select the object and I convert here, and here I'm going to mention left leg segment 1. I'll also copy this, I choose OK, and select this one. I press F8. I'm going to mention that leg 2, and here I'm going to select it. I'm going to mention that segment 3. So that left leg elements are ready now. The same way I want to create the elements for the hands. So for the hand also I want to create the shapes. First I want to create the shapes for right hand. So I'm going to use the black, and I'm going to create the shape like this. I was applied transform using Q, and I got it. Now after applying that, I press V to select the selection tool. Now I duplicate the same object. The shape, I was not yet converted that. This will be my hands lower segment, and for the end, the wrist part, I just create a circle. You can change it later if you want. So right now I was created the shape like this. So we have only these three segments. I select this, I apply transform by press Q, and I reduce the size little more. So this is how I was created, and before I convert that as a symbols, I just duplicate that by press holding the Alt key, dragging and releasing, and I change the color it to red. Now I select this upper hand segment. This is the right hand, remember. I just press F8, and I'm going to mention this right hand segment 1, and here I choose this and I press F8 and I mention segment 2, and I select here, press F8 and paste that copied element. and I choose segment 3. So now all these 3 elements are converted as a symbol. I come to this place, I choose the upper segment, press F8, and I'm going to mention that this is left hand segment 1. And I press Ctrl A to select the all text. I press Ctrl C to copy, press OK, and select this element, choose F8 and paste here with the name segment 2, and I repeat the same thing for that segment 3. So we need all these elements if you want to create the character walk cycle design, because when the character was moving we need minimum these number of segments. We have 6 segments for hands, 6 segments for the leg, and 2 for the body and head also. So now I come to the library, you can see that we have all those segments. So this is how you need to create the shapes. If you are directly creating the character, you can create the character, and if it was the delay or at first you have to create animation, you can directly create the animation using shapes. Later you can enter inside the symbol, you can just paste that character head design, so it will be automatically converted as a real character. So at the beginning you don't need to wait for the complete real character, you can start with this sample design, but you need this much number of segments. So that is the important thing. This is how we create that character segments. We also call that as a character pack, and have all the segments which is required for create walk cycle animation using Adobe Animate. In this lesson, I'm going to show you how you can create the frame by frame walk cycle animation using Adobe Animate. In the last lesson, we have created this character. Let me set up this for the very first keyframe position for walk cycle animation. So to create the walk cycle animation, you need to decide which leg or color you need to use for that right and left. Since the character was facing the right hand side, I was used this black leg and hand as the right, and I'm going to use this red as a left leg and left hand. So the starting pose will be always spreaded the leg, and the hands will be in a respective different positions. Let me show you how we have starting with the walk cycle frame. So to do that, I just come here, I just press Q, and you can see I can just turn the leg little bit, and I do the same thing for this leg. So if you did something like this, any error, just press Ctrl Z or Ctrl Z. Don't correct yourself by adjusting the transform controls. So here I was placing like this. This will be my starting pose, but both objects need to be connected, not in physical form, but it should be in a same axis, right? So to do that, I just placed here. As I told you, these elements I need as left the leg. So I select all those elements and I hold Control and press down arrow. When I do that, I can access these options, which is arrange. So using the Control down arrow and Control up arrow, I can manage the the order of the objects. So I was use the shortcut key, and I move the hand also. This is that left hand. I just move here, but this hand should be on the other side of the character. So I just select all 3 segments and I change the transform control position, and I place the right position. Then I press Control down arrow, so I can change the position of that particular segments. And here I select all those things. I want to bring this front of all objects, so I just press Control and press up arrow to bring that segment to the all other objects. Now I rotate little bit here, and I want to place at this location. So this is how I place, and this should be the starting pose of your walk cycle animation. And I can spread the leg little more. It's based on our adjustments. and here also I can confirm it using this feet. I change the position of that, and this is how I was placing. And I select the overall character. I reduce the size a little bit as I required. So this is how I was setting the starting pose. This should be the starting pose of the walk cycle animation. Remember, the front leg should be spreaded and it should be in a forward position, and the back leg should be on the back side. Both legs are balancing the body. You can see that if I show the rulers here and I draw one guideline, you can see that both legs are perfectly placed in between the body. Then only the human body will balance our entire body organs. So this should be the starting pose of our walk cycle animation. And when I do the walk cycle animation using this rulers, I just create a guideline to make sure which one will be the ground and where I need to place the feet. So in that case, this is the important thing. And I also note what was the current height of the character. You can see that what will be the height of the character. So this is how I set the starting pose of the character. After creating that, you can create as a separate segments. You don't need to draw as a single shape. You can create a separate segments, arrange and combine and create this kind of character pack. So this is how we start the frame by frame walk cycle animation using Adobe Animate. This will be the first pose. Now after creating the first pose, I am going to add the second pose. To add the second pose, I come to this timeline. In timeline only we are creating those movement of the character. So at very first frame, you can see that we have a circle here, the small black color dot. So wherever you have this dot, that particular place is called keyframe. And here you can see that these all are empty frames. So we don't have any visuals or elements there. We have only one frame on this particular animation, which is this one. Frame is nothing but if you are having that video clip, that each video clip will have multiple image combinations. So it may have 24 pictures combination to create a single video, or 30 images combination to create a single video. The continuous playback of that images create the illusion of movement, so which is applicable for the film as well as the animation. So that's how we create the animation, and here it shows you at the 30th frame, it shows you the duration, which is 1 second. On this side, you can see that in 60th frame it shows you the 2 seconds. So based on our need, we can set the time interval for each and every movement. So right now we have only one keyframe. Keyframe is that place where you can do modifications, changes, everything for the character animation. So I'm going to add another keyframe. To do that, I come to the frame number 5 and I press F6. So when you press F6, you can add a keyframe, and in between you can see that we have the frames called static frames. So here we will have the object but without any movement, and if you need a movement, you need to be that it should be the the keyframe. So here it's a keyframe and I can change the pose of the character. So what we need to do in this pose, the character need to move forward, and I want to mark the present leg position. See how I do. I just mark the present leg position. This will be the the feet place. So the character need to move forward. So let me show you how the character will move forward. So in this is the first frame, and here I just want to move forward, and the first pose is fine. Everyone know this pose now. Now I need to straighten this black leg. Remember, whenever you do the walk cycle animation, first you need to adjust the leg, the front leg. Then you need to adjust the back leg. Then you need to adjust the both hands. That's how you need to do the modifications. And here also, as I told you, I need to straighten this leg because that hold the balance of our entire body. So I straighten this, and when you make that leg into straight, our body height will be slightly increased So I just press Ctrl A to select all the elements and I move above a little bit. So this is how it will work, but the leg should be in the place means the whole character should be in this place, right? So I select this whole character and I move, and as I told you, I exactly place that object in the position. So when I change this, the front leg position alone, I come to the timeline, I move and check whether it was in the right way or not. See here, you can see it was moving in a proper way. You can see that it's not a mistake. I was moving in a proper way. And after moving that front leg, now I want to adjust the back leg. I select both segments at the bottom and I change the center point, rotate little bit. After this, I select just press hold the shift key and select the upper segment also. So all three segments are selected. Now I change the center position and rotate like this. So you can see that this is how he was moving forward, right? This is the right way. And that body appearance, you can see that when the front the right leg was in front, the right hand should be at the back. That's how we balance our body when we walk or run. So here at this place I need to change the position of this leg, the leg where we have this hand. So I just move this hand little bit to the middle, not the exact middle, and I also select this red, which is the left hand. It will move backward and I move little bit. So this is how we adjust both hands. Okay, I did a mistake. I was added one extra frame here. No problem. I just drag and drop here so that it will be replaced with that previous frame. So you can see that the leg movements are fine. Both hands are having movement. And if you want to create the movement for the head also, you can do that. Remember these two poses, the pose number 1 and pose number 2, because we are going to use the 5 keyframes for creating this walk cycle animation. That third pose will be completely opposite to the first one. The fourth pose will be completely opposite to the second one. So if you remember the first two, you know what will be the third pose and what will be the fourth pose. Now I go to the fourth pose. I just add a keyframe here after 3 blank frames, and I want to move this character forward. So in this time also I select that center leg, because that one is managing the whole body like this. So after having this adjustment, I select the whole character. So after adjusting this, I'm going to select the whole character. I press Ctrl A and I move forward and again place the leg exactly where it should be. Now you can see he is moving in a proper way. So the leg should be on the same place until that the red color, which is the left leg, move and set the proper balance. Otherwise it will create the disturbance. So try to keep that and adjust this leg as we require. I select all 3 segments and adjust as how I want. So I adjust this, and when I do this, that black hand, it should be in front. So this hand move forward, but the red hand, it's not visible, that the first segment. So to see that, I select this show all layer as outline view, and I select both segments at the top and the third segment. I can set up that center point and rotate like this. So the outline will be much helpful for us to create this kind of walk cycle animations. And we set it up that third frame pose. You can see that this will be the first pose and this will be completely opposite to the first pose, but we created only 3 frames, which shows we are doing the animation. Now I'm going to add the 4th frame, so I use F5 to add the static frames and F6 to add a keyframe. And here I just change this guideline into this leg because this one was balancing right now. So I just adjust this pose. Fine. So in 4th pose, okay, this will be 4th, right? I'm going to adjust here. So I come to the 4th one. So in 4th, I want to keep this leg in the same place, but the body need to move. So how do we do that? I want to do the adjustment here first, straighten that leg, and after that I select the whole body using Ctrl A, and I move it and I anchor that feet position exactly in the same place, because that leg was carrying the whole body weight, so it should be in the same place. Then only you will have that perfect movement here. You can see that. So after adjusting that leg, I come to this place, that back leg, which is the right leg, and I select 3 segments and I rotate and I have the pose like this. So you can see that. And here I just want to adjust the hand segments, so both hands need to move towards the center, and here also I select that right hand and move towards the center. So we completed 4 poses. So what should be the 5th pose? The first pose will be the 5th pose. So that's how the cycle will continue that process. So I select all, or I just right click that frame and I choose copy frame, and I come to this place, right click, and I choose paste frame. So when I choose paste frame, it shows you the new frame, but I just need to move that into the proper position. So you can see that how we created the frame by frame animation. So after created this frame by frame, the keyframe poses, you have to add in between poses. So I come to the first frame again, and you can make sure with how we have this animation, like I just press Ctrl Enter, so you'll have the debug mode, and it shows you how that animation was working. So it was moving in a proper way, you can see that, but we need to add more keyframes. So if you want to add more keyframes, you can come in between and press F6 to add a keyframe, and you can set up the poses. So how we can set up the poses? See, I need to know what will be the the present and previous and the past. So here I need to know what was the present pose of the character, what was the previous and next keyframe poses also for Adobe Animation work. So here I want to know using this option, which is onion skin. So when I enable onion skin and I can adjust this walk, it shows you what was the previous keyframe position, what was the present, and what will be the next pose. So I choose the in between newly added keyframe, and I want to create the movement between these poses. Like I want to make this leg little bit straight, like not entirely. So I just rotate 50%, not 100%, and I move the character and I want to place exactly in that place. And for the leg, I rotate this little bit, not too much, and I select the segments and I want to move like this. So you can see that I was creating only the in between poses. For the hand also, I select these segments. This hand need to come to the middle pose, but here I just move only the 50%, and I also select the hand segment here, that right hand, and I need to move 50%. So you can see that this is the present pose of the character, this is the previous pose, and this will be the next pose. And I just press Ctrl 2, I just disable the onion skin. You can see we have more detail when you add in betweens. The same way you need to add in between for this keyframe, and this keyframe. So when I add all those in betweens, you will have the better smooth animation. So this is how we create traditional frame by frame animations. So we don't need any parenting to create this traditional animation. We don't need multiple layers. We don't need a nested symbol concept. Directly in this main timeline itself, you can create this animation. So when you add more in betweens in between the keyframes, so you will have the better smooth animation of this walk cycle animation. So this is how we create the traditional frame by frame walk cycle animation using Adobe Animate. In this lesson, I'm going to show you how we can create a new walk cycle animation using parenting option. So to do that, I create a new document. I'm going to use the same dimension 1280 and 720 pixels. I press Ctrl 2. Now I'm going to use the same character I was used to create the traditional frame by frame animation. So I select the very first frame and I copy this, and I come to this new document. Here I paste it. So I don't need to create the separate character. I'm going to use this character alone. But here I'm going to use the concept called nested symbol. Nested symbol means right now you can see we have a collection of symbols, all are graphic symbols, and I'm going to select all those symbols and I'm going to convert that as another symbol, which is a human or boy or walk, something like that. So we can convert all symbols as a single symbol. When I access this symbol, I just double click here and I access this symbol, you will have collection of symbols inside. So this concept is called nested symbols. When we create the animation using nested symbols, you can move the character in an easy way, and that cyclic animation will be used in different places. So let me show you how to do that. So after placing all those characters body on screen, I just press F8 and I'm going to mention that animation, which is boy walk cycle animation or walk cycle. Now I press OK. So in library you can see that we have that symbol which is boy walk cycle. On my stage, if I deleted by mistake, you don't need to worry about that. The whole walk cycle animation will be here. So this is how the library is much useful for us. And here we have the walk cycle animation starting pose. So where we need to do animation, you see in our previous lesson I showed you where you need to create the animation, which is the main timeline and the main timeline frames. Here I want to create the animation inside the symbol, not outside the symbol. So let me show you how we are going to do that. To do that, I just double click and you can see right now I can access all other objects. At the top it shows you right now I was inside the symbol, which is boy walk cycle. When I click scene 1, it shows you that we are in the stage now, the main stage. But when I double click that character, we are inside the symbol, which is boy walk cycle. And I can come outside by click here or click outside. So this is how we navigate that nested symbols. Now again double click. Now I want to create the parenting for these all symbols. So to do the parenting, I want to come inside the symbol. Yes, I was enter inside. After that I select each segment and I change the center point of each segment. Say I select the segment and I press Q to apply transform and I change the center point. The same way I adjust all the joint center point, then only I can create the bone like structure for this. So I adjust here, and for the hand also I select this segment and I adjust this place. This will be the first step before you add the parenting animation controls. I press Ctrl Z. I add that for the feet also. In the same way, I choose this leg and I add those joints like appearance. Remember, we don't need to add the joints, those objects need, not required to colloid. We just create that illusion. So this is how we changed all the center points of the object. Now after completing all those changes, I select the whole character, right click, and I choose this distribute to layers. So right now you can see we have only one layer, which is layer 1. After selecting this, I right click and I choose this option, distribute to layer. So now you can see all those individual symbols are separated and distributed as an individual layer. So this is the reason we need to keep each and every object as a symbol. Now after did this work, distributed all the objects, in this timeline I have the option here which is show parenting view. I click here. So when I choose show parenting view, you have the gray color area here. So by adjust these gray color area controls, I can create the human bones like structures for this cartoon character. Let me show you how to do that. The body will connect all the the joints, like the body will be the static object, but the head will be joined with the body. And you can see the hand, this is the right hand. The right hand upper segment will join with the body, and the middle segment will join with the upper segment, and the lower segment will join with the middle segment. That's how we need to create the joint. So let us start with the head. You can see here I have the head and I move that nearby that body. Now how we do the parenting, see here, this body will be the parent and the head will be the child. I just come to this place, I select the child and just click and drag and release over the parent. So here I just release over the body. So now this was the child, that head is child of this body. Now in the same way I come to this leg, this will be the right leg. The first segment need to connect with the body, and the second segment need to connect with the first segment. The third segment need to connect with the second segment. You can see this structure we required with all other objects. In the same way I do this for this right hand, okay, left leg. So the segment 1 will be connect with the body, and segment 2 connect with 1, and segment 3 connect with 2. So again I do the same thing, that segment 1 connect with the body for the hand, segment 2 connect with 1, and segment 3 connect with 2. And here also the segment 1 of left hand connect with the body, 2 with 1, 3 with 2. Now you can see we need this structure, and after adding this parenting I select the body and click and move. You can see that when I move the body alone, all those other connected joints also moving. So this indicates we perfectly added the parenting for this character. This is how you need to create the parenting for this 2D character using Adobe Animate. In this lesson, I'm going to show you how you can create the walk cycle animation with parenting in Adobe Animate. I'm going to use the classic tune animation for that. Let me show you how to do that. So in our previous lesson, we created this parenting view. You can see that all those segments are connected with the parent. Now after completing this work, I make sure the all layers in my timeline are visible. Then only you can create the animation in a proper manner. Now I select all the frames by press hold the shift key. I select all the frames. Now I right click and I choose create classic twin. So we can use the classic twin as well as the motion twin also. Now in this process I'm going to use the classic twin. So when I choose classic twin, for the 30 frames you will have the static frames. You can see that you have only one keyframe here and all other things are static frames. Now I want to add the further keyframes. In our previous lessons I shows you that we have created this frame by frame animation, but in this the character was moving from left to right. You can see that the leg was anchored with the earth and the character was moving forward. But here I want to create the same kind of walk cycle, but this will be the cyclic animation, which means I need to complete one cycle and I'm going to repeat that. So here I'm not going to move the character from left to right. In the same place I need to change the poses of each key. So let me show you how to do that. So after adding this, the classic tween, I add keyframe for all layers at this frame number 10. So I select all the layers, the 10th frame alone, using shift key. To do that, I select the first frame, I just press hold the shift key and I click the last layer, so that all layers 10th frame has been selected. Now I press F6 so that I can add the keyframe. So this is the second keyframe, and as we did using that traditional frame by frame animation, I was showing that rulers, and I mark the ground and the height also. Now I press Ctrl 2. So here in this first frame, the first keyframe, the character will be in the same position. In second keyframe, as I told you in our previous lessons, I select the front leg. It's not about that right leg or left leg. It's the front leg you need to adjust first. So I'll select all the three segments and I press Q to apply transform. I change the position of this object and I rotate and I make it straight. So this is the first step you need to do. Now I press Ctrl A and I move all the body parts little bit above the ground. So you can see that this will be the movement we have. Since it's a tween animation, the in between frames movement will be automatically generated. Now I select the back leg, I create that movement I require. Now I select the third segment, which is the upper segment. I change the center position and I create the movement like this. So you can see that the leg movement is perfect. The character was moving that back leg towards forward. So after adjust that legs, I want to select and adjust the hands, and I select this back hand, which is the right hand. I bring that into middle and I select this left hand. I use the shift key to select multiple objects. Now I rotate and place like this. So you can see that this is how we have the character movement. Since we use that the classic tween animation, the in between I don't need to add the keyframes. It will create the movement by itself. So the first frame is ready and the second keyframe is ready. Now I want to add the third keyframe, which is completely opposite to the first one. So here if you want to mark that step, where it starts and where it ends, you can mark like this. It will be helpful for you to add the third keyframe in a proper way. So here I'm going to add the third keyframe. I select all the layers and I press F6. As I told you, I select the front leg. This is the front leg. I select and adjust the position here. So this will be the maximum value as I told you, and I press Ctrl A and I move all the character's body here. Now I select this lower segment and I adjust little bit. So I was adjusted that back leg, the height is also adjusted. Now I want to adjust the front leg, right? So I select these two segments and I rotate like this, and I want to rotate more. Since I want to rotate more, I just rotate like this. You can also adjust both segments. Select the upper segment and I adjust a little bit like this. So here I make that feet into normal and I select both objects, move down a little bit according to the height. So this is how you will have the movement. And I need to adjust little more. So I select the feet and I adjust like this. So after adjusting this, I have to adjust the hands. So I select that hand which is the black, which is moving forward. I want to move further. So I select all three segments and I adjust forward. The same way I need to select the red hand. So I select show outline view. This will be the red hand, which is the left hand, and I select the center position and I move the hand like this. So with the leg I was created that hand movement also, and here I want to limit that leg forward position little bit. Fine. Now I want to create the fourth keyframe animation. So for fourth I was adding another keyframe. I press F6 and remember this should be the directly opposite to the second keyframe. So as I told you, just select the first forward leg, adjust that into straight. That should be that first work you are doing, and press Ctrl A, move the character a little bit up. You need to balance the whole body. And now I choose this hands, not hands, that right leg, and I adjust like this. I need to rotate in a proper way where I required. So the legs are adjusted. You can see here. After adjusting the leg, I need to adjust the hands. So the hand which is moving forward need to bring back to the middle, and the hand which I move backward also need to move in front. So this will be the pose of the fourth frame. And the fifth frame, as we did with the traditional frame by frame animation, we need to copy the very first keyframe. So I select the very first keyframe of all the layers. I just right click and I choose copy frames, because you need a cycle of animation and without any glitch. So I was copied and I come to this place. I select all the lost frames, right click and I choose paste frames. So the very first pose will be copied and pasted. So this is how I was just copy and pasted all those things, and you can see that we have cycle of animation repeatedly. So this is how we do this cycle of animation, the complete walk cycle animation with the parenting, and it has a lot of advantages. We can move and we can create any kind of animation with walk or run with human bone joints like appearance. This is how we do that parenting walk cycle animation in Adobe Animate. So after completing your parenting animation, I want to use this nested symbol concept in my project work. So how we can use it? Let me show you that. So after completed this animation inside the symbol, it is not outside the timeline, it was inside the symbol. I just come to the main timeline. You can see this is the main timeline. Here I want to use this character. So I just want to create a small background for that. So to use this character in my story animation, I select this background first. I press Ctrl J so that you can access the document properties, and here I'm going to change the color. So you can either change the color or you can also change the dimension. I just change the color here like this, and you can see that this is layer 1. I'm going to change that name into boy, and I add a new layer, and here I'm going to mention a layer called background, and I press enter. So here I want to create a very simple background. So to do that, I just choose rectangle tool and I select this fill color into black, and I was adding shape like this. And if I want, I can delete some areas like this, so it will looks like a bridge to me. So I select some color and I place like this and I delete that. So it looks like he was walking on some bridge or a building's top view. So after adding this simple background, I want to move this character from left to right, and I don't need that red color because I use that red color to identify that left hand and left leg. You can change that using the properties option. So by default at the beginning itself I select the character. On this properties you can see we have color effects. I choose color effects and I choose tint, and here I am changing that color into black. So you can change that into any color. So I was using black, which is suitable for this background lighting. I want a silhouette appearance for this cartoon character. Now after adding that, I just expand the timeline frames. You can see when I expand the timeline frames, that symbol, the graphic symbol animation was visible on the main timeline. You can see that it was visible when I expand the main timeline. Remember, for the background I don't need any animation. I just need to add animation for this boy only. So I just lock this background layer, and here for the boy layer I have first keyframe here. I not yet added another keyframe to move this whole nested symbol. I was selecting the boy layer, and here I am going to add a classic tween. I go to the end. At the end also I add a keyframe using F6. So I was used the starting keyframe and end keyframe. In end keyframe I move the character into right hand side so that you can see we have the character movement. But is it right? You can see that the character was moving fast, and when the character was anchoring the leg forward like this, I just move timeline. You can see that until the character was moving that the back leg and anchor into next position, the character leg should be in the same place. It should not drag like this. It was dragging because you need to expand the duration more, which is the 4 seconds is not enough for this character movement. So either I need to increase the duration here, or I need to go to the symbol, and here I need to reduce the duration. So here I need to increase. I just come to this place. I make sure when the character was moving, completing one cycle, the leg should be in the same place. So here I want to increase the the number of frames in between. To increase that, I just click the playhead. I just want to add frames on both layers, not only this boy layer. After click that that particular playhead needle head, I press F5, and I can see that how it was moving forward. So when I press F5, it will add more frames, and I make sure the character was moving in a proper place. Now you can see, okay, I need to add more. So now you can see when the character was moving until that reached the next pose, the leg is in the same place only. So this is how your walk cycle should be. And I come to the end. You can see that it requires more than 6 second duration. So I just press Ctrl Enter, and it shows you the preview like this. So we have created only one cycle of animation for the leg movement, but here we have multiple cycles. So based on the need, like walk and jump and run, the repeated animations, we can do all kind of repeated animations using this parenting view option. You can also create the custom movements, like the character was coming here and jumping from this place to next place. You can do all those things because we have parented the character. So each and every segment joined and created the bone structure like appearance, which is using the parenting option. And this is how we create the walk cycle animation using Adobe Animate with parenting view.